Few may know this, but the path that I walked from consoles to PC gaming revolved around one game franchise. The Total War series was something that has engulfed more time than I really want to admit, dating back to the original release of Rome Total War. I always enjoyed the aspect of being able to control the battles yourself, unlike in the Civilization games that seemingly had poor combat rolls whenever you really needed to win. I'll be the first to admit that I think the team at Creative Assembly has been on a bit of a coasting approach to their games, but when I found out that an upcoming indie game was looking to utilize the combat component that I enjoyed so much and put it into a new style of gameplay, I was really intrigued. But what is this game, and is it something you should keep on your radar? Stay tuned to find out. Developed by TJ, yep, just TJ, and published by Memori Studios comes the game Tabletop Tavern. This game mixes the real-time combat from the Total War series and puts it into a roguelike setting where you must manage your army wisely by adding strong troops, strengthening those that you already have, and smartly engaging your enemy to avoid the attrition that comes from taking on the literal table full of encounters. With several factions and leaders that have a variety of abilities at their disposal, how will you show those around the table that you are the supreme commander? As I mentioned, there are several factions for you to command, each with their own unique benefit, like being able to recruit units for free at a town, or granting you a bonus for sacking those towns. With each faction, not only are there faction-specific units, but your leader also grants you additional bonuses. After you get through with all those vast choices at the beginning of the game, you set out on a familiar style map full of random events, towns, shops, and, of course, combats. Before the engagement, you get a preview of what you will be up against, and you can even auto-resolve the battle if you want. And despite the easiest difficulties showing you a preview of the result, I just tend not to trust auto-resolve. If you know, you know. Anyways, combat is fairly similar to what you would see from the Total War series. You can deploy however you want, with some units being able to deploy outside the normal areas, and once you're ready, the fight begins. If you're victorious, you get to choose your reward from the options of gold, relics, recruiting an enemy unit to add to your own roster, or just healing the army that you've drug across multiple battlefields. While traversing the overworld map, you can come across nodes that have you making decisions and rolling a die to determine the outcome. You can go to towns and either peacefully enter, which heals your army and presents you with the opportunity to recruit units from that village's faction, or you can fight the garrison, to which if done successfully, you gain relics and one-time use items alongside gold to be used to modify dice rolls or purchase items from the shop you visit. Now during your time playing, one neat aspect you can come across is if you're able to gather 3 of the same unit, you can upgrade them into a stronger version. But this can be a double-edged sword, as you get a stronger unit, but now you have less units to bring to the battlefield, which allows you to be more easily flanked. Now whether or not you fill out your army, you actually have 2 spots for reserves that will allow the units to not be involved in the fight and heal, which is kind of a neat strategic aspect to add. Now as you progress, each army you face becomes stronger, with the final battle of the world being capped off with a full army that you need to be really prepared for, and if you are able to defeat them, you reset to a new faction's world. Now that all of that is out of the way, I can get into my thoughts during my time playing the demo. Firstly, I just have to say that the amount of variety on offer is quite staggering. Unit types also have keywords that help you determine how best to use them, like using monsters that have the fear ability to rout enemy units faster, or the anti-large units to take down those big monsters. While this has been around from the Total War series, I think it definitely has to be included in order to make sure the player keeps a diverse army. Now, one thing that did bother me in the fights is that the computer just always outright rushes you. Because of this, you can just sit back with your artillery and other ranged options as the enemies come to you, which gives you a bit of an advantage going into the nitty-gritty of the fight. It kind of feels like there should be a scenario that determines who is attacking and who is defending, because by default, it will always be more beneficial to dictate where the battle will take place. This goes doubly so with the addition of terrain and buildings placed on the battlefield. Like, why would I want to move from a building that grants my ranged units more accuracy? Or why not line up defensively in a swamp to weaken enemy charge bonuses? It just felt like every fight I was involved with, I more or less deployed the same tactics and wasn't really met with all that much resistance. There are a few varieties of battlefield maps to go through, and I appreciate the river crossing maps, but I also wish that there was some way to tell on the overworld map what sort of battlefield you'd fight on before going into it. This is definitely me being nitpicky, but it would be kinda cool to see a bridge on the overworld map and know that, hey, I want to work my way towards that node because it has that choke point. Or if I want to fight in an open area, then maybe I should aim for a less dense location on the overworld map. Regardless, I do think that the overworld map traversal needs more of an angle from which to view it. I kept wanting to look past what was ahead and it just became cumbersome, but in reality, raising the camera and angling it down would become more dynamic anyways. Although, it is a neat touch to be able to see the people gathered around the table, which makes it feel like you walked into an LGS and come across gamers who love to roll tons of dice and just get one hit out of it. As for the actual combat of the game, there were a few issues that I had besides with the over-aggression from the computer. For one, repositioning your units was a chore and a half. If you want to move a unit and another one of your units is in the way, then good luck. Your units are going to clog together and the only real way to get them unstuck is basically by finishing the battle. Also, it felt like many times I just had to stay on top of my army to make sure they kept fighting. These large clumps will always form, but if I've given my army the attack order on one of these enemy units and that enemy unit starts to flee, there's not really a guarantee that my army will continue to fight the other enemy units around them. Overall, Tabletop Tavern has a lot of high notes, but there are several hiccups that keep it from realizing its true potential. While I haven't been thrilled by the works of Creative Assembly in recent years, it is hard for me to look towards any other sort of similar style of game. I do wish that these battles were a little bit longer, and there are some quality of life aspects that I feel like needed to be added, but that can really just be nitpicky given that the team that worked on this game is significantly smaller than the team that is currently fumbling the Total War series. Tabletop Tavern does fill that gap for those who want to skip the overworld management rather well, and I feel like this experience will have a strong pull for fans of strategy games. There's a ton more I could go over, but I do want to keep these videos kinda short. But honestly, if this is something that looks like it's up your alley, then you really should be giving the demo a shot before it releases sometime in Q1 of this year. But with that, that'll be it for this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and as always, be kind to one another. Shoutouts go to Relativity, Naughty Dog is King, Chaos, and Kamiko alongside all those subbed to the channel. Starting this month, I will be switching things up a bit for the releases and getting some sort of cycle started, so I hope you're going to stick around to see what's coming, but either way, I will see you soon.